might be the only chance I ever get to do this in my life, so here we go. Waffa, waffa, waffa! Awesome. It's like a party in here. I'm a huge, huge fan of this. And Miss Monroe said earlier, yeah, give yourself some hoops and hollers. This afternoon, Miss Monroe was talking about something that I've really noticed here since I've been in Washington, and that's that Washington FFA really is a family. How many of you have one of your best friends in the world in this room right now? I bet some of those people feel just as close as our own blood family members. And you know, sometimes we'll do anything for our family. Anything for our family. And sometimes we find ourselves in kind of sticky situations with our family and with our friends. And I found myself in one of these not too long ago. I was sitting at school getting ready for a math test the next day, and I was there studying. And then I pull my phone out and get this buzz. It's a text message from one of my friends. And in this text message, there is a picture of my friend Kendall, who I also met in FFA, one of my best friends. And Kendall in this picture has both hands over her eyes, and someone is holding a water gun on each side of her head. On the bottom of the message, it says, "Held hostage until rescued." So at this moment, I know exactly where this is coming from, because a few weeks ago, rewind, I may or may not have started a water fight between the girls and the guys in our campus ministry at school. And let's just say that the girls dominated. The girls dominated, and so these guys were going to get us back. And so one night, the guys hid this huge tub full of water balloons they were going to use to get us, but we found it first, and we smashed every one of them. Yes. So they were not happy campers about this. So for the past week and a half, Kendall and I had been running around campus in pairs and in big groups to make sure that nobody would ambush us coming from behind buildings and get us all nasty and wet going to class. And this is finally where all that fear came to a head. And you know, fear of the revenge of a water fight is something that's kind of silly. But we have real fears too. I think we all know what I'm talking about. For you, maybe that fear comes from something that happened to you or to somebody that you love in your own house, in your school, or in your hometown that you have absolutely no control over. Maybe it's something that no one else knows about. It's just an internal battle you fight in your mind. That God has not given us a spirit of fear, but of power and of love and of self-control. And tonight we're going to talk about those three things: power, love, and self-control, and how they can help us to overcome whatever that fear is for us and to live more boldly. So, going back to Kendall and I and our situation where she is evidently held hostage, and here I go trying to figure out what I'm going to do. Well, as a friend and FFA family member, I know I probably need to see about Kendall. But it's 10 o'clock at night, and it's cold. And in South Georgia, 45 degrees is about as cold as it ever gets. But to them, you know, they think they're breaking out the thermal underwear at that point. So here they are. It's cold. It's 45 degrees. It's 10 o'clock at night. I have a math test in the morning, and they expect me to come get my friend Kendall. At this point in the night, ain't nobody got time for that. But we're going anyway. So I decide it's time to suit up. I think about these guys and how fast they are. They've been playing Ultimate Frisbee every day for the past week. They are ready to go, and they are buff, and they are already at the building. That means they control all the sinks, all the water, everything, and they even have their own hideout. So I decide to get my poncho and try to protect myself. I grab my Super Soaker water gun and equip it with a little something extra. You know, if you ever find yourself in a water fight, don't just bring water. Water is for amateurs. If we'll put a little extra something in there, like dish detergent, then when it gets in your enemy's eyes, it kind of helps with the tear production and things like that. So make sure you bring that along. So I grab my water gun that's got a little something extra in it, and then my secret weapon, just in case things get completely out of hand. So I call my friend Melissa and say, hey, let's meet at the rodeo arena, and we park off down there and decide it's time to creep up to negotiate the terms of the release of our friend Kendall. And the guys come out, and I think this is going pretty smoothly. We're going to get her, nobody's going to get hurt. They just wanted to scare us. And then all these other guys just started appearing out of nowhere. And they just don't have water. They have Coke and Mountain Dew and all this sticky mess that gets in girls' hairs, and it is not fun. So here they come, and they're coming after us. And I think, this is more than I bargained for. And then I realized I still had that secret weapon. And all I would have to do is just hold it up. And this game would be over. Because 7 days out of the week, Coke, Mountain Dew are no match for pepper spray. Now, I would never shoot these guys directly in the face with pepper spray. Just holding it alone, they knew we meant business. My weapon was much stronger than their threats. You know, in real life, there's things that are a lot stronger than our fears, too, if we'll just choose to use them. You know, maybe for you, your fear is that you'll never quite measure up to a brother or a sister or a teammate or a friend that you have. And so you spend hours, years, maybe it's been your entire high school career. You've been trying to figure out a way to beat their GPA, their batting average, their showmanship buckle count. Instead, we can choose a weapon that's stronger than that fear, choosing to focus on the talents and the passions and the abilities that we have uniquely been given. Maybe your fear is that the safety of someone in your home or in your school is at stake. Maybe there's real bullying going on or abuse. You have the power to speak up and say something to someone who can help. Maybe we fear that we'll end up all alone, and so we jump into relationships and compromise values just to have somebody on our arm, a group of posse, to back us up. We can instead choose to focus on what's stronger, the one who loves and pursues us unconditionally. Whatever your fear is, find something that's stronger and use it. When life brings you water balloons, bring pepper spray. So when my little sister, anybody got little brothers or sisters out there? Yeah. I've got a little sister too. She's going to graduate next Friday, so I guess she's not quite so little anymore. But when we were younger, we loved to spend the entire day outside. We'd rather be outside than anywhere else in the world. And so I was, as usual, in my sandbox, and Cassie was on her little Tykes green tractor. We were just hanging out outside with my mom, and then the phone rings inside. So my mom runs inside, and then Cassie gets this smirk on her face that's never quite left her mouth since she was this age. She gets this smirk. She looks around, and then she realizes that she has a chance to do something she's always wanted to do. She peeks out one more time to make sure Mom's still gone. And then she starts pedaling off towards the road. Now, this little 3-year-old is pretty determined. So she's pedaling, and she gets right to the very edge. And you should know that we live in a sharp curve. You come from one side, there's this huge patch of trees, and from the other side, there's this giant mailbox with a red Massey Ferguson tractor on it. So clearly, our family has issues because we've got the green tractor, we've got the red tractor. We can't make up our mind. Maybe you guys can help us out with that. Any green out here? All right, any red? Any other color? All 10 of us, cool. So here we are with our situation. And either way, the view is obstructed. And so no one could see anyone coming out of the driveway pretty much, especially a small child. Cassie looks back one more time, starts pedaling off onto the road. She's a pretty smart 3-year-old. She does manage to get to the right side of the road. She's pedaling along, booking it off towards the pasture. And then, impending doom came upon my little sister. My mama came busting through that screen door, and buddy, she is not happy. She was a high school basketball player, and she is fast, and she's jumping over trees, and not trees, bushes, and all kinds of random stuff in the sandbox, and me and everything in the yard going off to get Cassie. She jumps and grabs her on one arm, grabs that tractor on the other, and they are booking it off towards the house. And buddy, she is not a happy camper. She is letting Cassie have it. She was like Mufasa going after Simba in the gorge to get her. I mean, she has put some risk into it. And so here she comes. And she is fussing and yelling. And finally she says, Cassie, what do you have to say for yourself? And Cassie, in her little sweet 3-year-old southern drawl with her little bouncing black curls, says, well, you let Daddy drive his tractor on the road. So at that moment, Cassie had no concept of the risk and the danger in the road. She was not fearful of anything. She only knew she loved being just like her daddy. Some things never quite change. My mom never once thought about the fact that she could be hit and put her own life in danger. She only knew that the little girl she loved was in the road. She had to go get her. There's no doubt that fear exists. Danger exists. But what is stronger than that? What can overcome it? It's what we love. You got it. So what do you love so much that it's worth the risk? That it's worth facing whatever that little fear is? Maybe for you, it's that you want to be an ag teacher one day. Maybe you love production farming. Maybe it's music. Maybe it's writing. Maybe it's communicating with people. Whatever that is, see it as big and let it make the fear seem small. You know, one of my favorite quotes is by Francis Chan, and in it he says, our greatest fear should not be of failure, but of succeeding at things in life that don't matter. Our greatest fear shouldn't be of failure, but of succeeding in life at things that don't matter. So what matters to you? Make that your focus, not the fear. Any livestock showmen out there? I hear you, me too. And not long ago, I met another livestock showman, and he is crazy about the swine industry. He loves showing hogs. Yeah, I hear you. That's my favorite too. And so here they are. His name is Daniel. He lives in Texas. And Daniel is actively overcoming some fear. You know, Daniel is a 12th grader. He's an FFA member. And he has found his passion for agriculture. But some people just don't quite get that. You see, neither of his parents speak English. And they have a hard time understanding what he wants to do with the future in agriculture. Because they hear that word and they think of the less than perfect life that they've had themselves coming up through the system as farm workers. But Daniel is passionate about one day owning his own boar stud and his own swine genetics company. And he's helping his parents overcome their fear of the unknown. And you know, Daniel will be the first person in his family to graduate from high school. And next year, he's going to be a freshman at Texas A&M University, going to college for the first time. First one in his family. He has no idea what to expect, no reference point, none of that. It kind of makes him nervous. But he's going to do it anyway. He's found his fear, and he's found some of other people, those in his family who are closest to him. He's helping to figure out a way to fix it. And it all starts in little decisions. We have the power, we have the love, but it's self-control that helps us to make those little decisions every day. I was hanging out with Katie Jensen from the Mount Vernon FFA chapter earlier today. And the reason that we didn't just hear a lot of screams just then is because Katie is the only person here from her chapter. And even though Katie knew that she would know virtually no one, be starting off trying to make friends with each person she met here, she was willing to take that risk. Her fear of having to make new friends and not feeling like she quite fit in, and has conquered that to come to convention. And a lot of us are probably thinking, anybody can do that. Exactly. It's in those little decisions. Most of the time, we know what we want to do. As Brandon and David have talked about with success and overcoming for what we love, we know what we want to do, but we find ourselves without the power to carry it out. We know the things we don't want to do, but we kind of find ourselves doing them anyway. It all comes down to those little decisions. So what are those for you? They make the big ones much easier. We come to state convention, and especially here, this is like a party. This is so cool, and this is just where the warm fuzzies live. We come to convention, and we get all these great ideas, and we set these dreams and goals, and we tell our ag teachers about all the wonderful things we're going to do, and our friends about how we're going to run for office, and how we're going to do this CDE, and all this great stuff. And then real life happens. We go back to school. We go back home. And what will we do? Because it takes conscious decisions. We have to find what our fear is. Choose a weapon that's stronger. Life brings you water balloons. Find your pepper spray. We have to figure out what it is that we love that is so much more important than our fears. What is worth the risk of going to get Cassie in the road? Who's your Cassie? What's your Cassie? It's in those little decisions, like Daniel, like Katie, are making every day to let love conquer fear. I would like to tell you that I have this thing all figured out, but that would be a lie. Because to be honest with you, there's still fears that I have a hard time with. It kept me from taking ag mechanics in high school because I thought there's no way I'll be able to weld as good as those guys. And people will think, I don't know what I'm doing. I'm not cut out for this. The fear of disappointing other people and what they think kept me from playing volleyball with my friends because, frankly, I don't have an athletic bone in my body. And I might get judged for that. Nobody might want me on that team. And more times than I would like to admit, it keeps me talking about the only one who could save my life. What is that fear for you? It starts by getting real with ourselves. We know the tools. Let's make it happen. God's not given us a spirit of fear, but of power and of love and of self-control. Go live boldly, Washington FFA. Thank you.